Before I get started, just a reminder myself that you just got to hit record, dude. Been sitting in this chair for the last hour, thinking about what you're going to say and thinking around and doing all the things that you don't need to be doing right now. And the truth is, you could have been done recording your content by now, have it edited and scheduled to go out. Yet, instead, you're just hitting record now, and that means you're going to have to work later to get all the things done that you need to do. And the whole point of doing this is to free up your time and create a life that you can work when you want, how you want. So face those demons, hit record, dude, and just get going. So today I'm going to talk about how I audit client accounts, what I look for in client accounts for, just different improvements and things that we can do to increase their marketing dollars and how far their marketing dollars go. And I think it's important to do this regularly. I don't think enough business owners do an audit of their business often enough. And what ends up happening, especially in the online coaching space, is, excuse me. I'm going to start that over. Today I want to talk about how I audit a client account in the online coaching space before working with them to see ways in which we can make improvements, find new pockets of people, find new areas that we can increase their marketing investment, return on investment, different things like that. Still don't like this either, so let's make that a little bit shorter. I'm redoing these for the 0 people watching on YouTube. I'm redoing this because I'm going to start to use some more of this content for ads, and we'll need to consider that audience as well for some of these things. So more on that later, but I am an ads guy. I've, spent a few $1 million in ads and generated a lot more. So I figure why not use those skill sets for myself, and, basically report back my findings. Anyways, so today I want to talk about how I audit a client's account or a client's business in the online coaching space before I work with them to find ways that I can offer value, increase their return on ad spend, investment, however you want to say it. And why you should listen to me is, first, you shouldn't. Don't. This isn't advice. I am not your guru. This is just what I have done to generate somewhere a little north of $30 million for clients over the last decade. 10 million-ish, specifically in the online coaching space. Most of that through paid media, content, and emails, right? So I've written a lot of content, several million words in the last decade here. So these are the things that I always look for or noticed in client accounts in areas that more often than not are just losing them a lot of money. And by simply reallocating or reshifting focus, we can see a pretty big improvement right away. I worked with a client recently who came to me, and they were on the verge of having to get jobs because they were no longer breaking even, and just really bummed about that and needed it fixed quick. And within 3 or 4 months, they ended up reporting back that they were no longer interviewing and searching for jobs. The business had turned around to the point where it was profitable and was able to start paying their bills again. So they're able to refocus and put more time and energy into their business then. And so that's pretty cool. I love doing that kind of stuff. And usually it's a lot easier than a lot of business owners think. And one of the biggest problems I see over and over again is coaches trying to do too many different things all at once. You know, they're trying to put together 5 different funnels or 4 different offers, or, you know, trying to launch a newsletter, a new ad campaign, a new ebook, and also redesign their website at the same time. You know, like, there's only so much time in the day, and, you know, even, you know, if you're hiring out for all these things, you know, simply managing all of that is really difficult, especially because a lot of online coaches that I've seen typically became online coaches because they aren't great at working within, you know, an organization. You know, a lot of us who got into the internet marketing space did so because we like working by ourselves, or like doing whatever we want and things like that. And also many people in the online coaching space and the online space just simply didn't have a lot of management experience before coming in. So, you know, working with people in a business sense and helping them, making sure they get things done and do it to the way you want, it's very difficult. So anyways, the main thing is just getting them to focus on one thing and getting that to work, right? Rather than thinking that we need to try 3 different things to see which one works and then put our focus in that, right? You simply, like, it doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. I haven't seen it be successful. You know, I've heard many of the big gurus out there talk about when their business took off was when they focused on one thing and got that working, and went all in on the one thing. And it wasn't until later that they were able to branch out and put on more products. So first off, focusing on one thing is my top recommendation. And from there, what I do is, the main thing I do is just kind of skim over everything. You know, I look through their entire every page on their website, all of their emails that they're sending out, all of their different landing pages that they have, the different offers that they have. I don't go, you know, like, I'm not going through their entire course and things like that, but I'll skim like ebooks or some of the videos or different things like that, just to get a sense and an idea and the feeling of what a customer journey might look like from the very beginning, from an ad all the way to, you know, after they hand money and get access to whatever they bought. So the main thing I'm looking for in that is kind of a congruency in feel and message. Too often, online coaches I see have, you know, bought in courses from this person and this person and that person and that person. They have this kind of Frankenstein funnel that's been patched together, and it's very jarring for a lot of your audience when, you know, you're coming in because of this lead magnet here that's offering to solve this problem, but then your core product doesn't even really kind of deal with that problem. It's this other thing. So getting congruence on that message and that flow and that journey so that they feel like they feel like they're progressing, rather than, I guess, like, you know, imagine it like this. You know, you're going through the woods, you're at a national park and going on a trail. Do you want to go on a trail that's going to take you on a nice scenic journey where you're going to see some waterfalls, a river, maybe end up at a lake where you can have a picnic and enjoy the afternoon, swimming, playing, things like that? Or do you want to go on a hike that's going to be a series of loops that essentially just bring you back to the path that you were just on, so you can go a little bit further, loop back around, come back there, right? That's what I see so often with a lot of these different coaching programs where they've Frankenstein that funnel together. Like, they'll have a lead magnet, but then they'll have something that goes to a Facebook group and then over to their Instagram and then over to their podcast. And it's like, what am I supposed to do next? Like, I'm not going to look at all of these right now. Where's the one I want to go? And I know there's like a case to be made for, here's all the different things. And I totally agree. You want to give content and like show up where people want to consume, but don't try to make people feel like they have to, follow you on all those places and interact with all of those different places, right? Give them the options, right? Say why they should join these different communities, or like why they should show up here, because your content's going to be different. How you show up is going to be different, whether it's a Facebook group or on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or anything like that. I guess that's kind of the second thing too that I look for in all that as I'm getting a feel, is I'm trying to always answer the question of like, what's the reason for this? As a potential customer, it's like, why would I do this? Why should I do this? Why does this make sense? Does this make sense for me to do next, kind of thing? Again, because that goes back to a lot of times these coaches are Frankenstein their funnels together as they go along, and they kind of forget over time that, when I made this 6 months, 2 years ago, I was talking about these things, but now like I'm talking about this stuff, which don't really connect anymore. All right. So once I've kind of done that, and again, like I'm just skimming through all these, the parts that really kind of catch my attention, I'll read a little bit more closely. But again, I'm just kind of getting a feel for the entire journey. And then next thing I'll do is start to dig into the numbers. You have to know the numbers. You have to look at, whatever kind of purchase history that you have, like what your sales cycle is. That's from like the time they become a lead, give you their information, name, email, phone, to when they actually purchase. And it's probably a lot longer than you think. I've talked to a lot of clients who think that, selling this high ticket coaching program, they've got a 2-week sales cycle, when in reality it's 6 months or more. So knowing that's really important. Having an understanding of like how much you have to spend to acquire a customer. It's cost of acquisition. I've also seen that too, where a lot of clients have really good ROAS, or really good cost per acquisition, but they want to keep their ad spend within a certain percentage, or lead costs lower, different things like that, and really capping their potential of scaling, because they just are simply at a point that they can scale, but they don't know their numbers well enough that they're afraid to do it, right? And an easy way to kind of overcome that is having like a low ticket front end offer, something under $100. We'll get more into that later. But knowing your numbers is really important. I kind of look through everything from, like CPM and on down the line, right? So I think it's important to work backwards to see like what's the overall conversion rate, what's your email open rates, work backwards up the funnel to see what the biggest needle movers are. More often than not, clients need better follow-up. We'll get into that in a minute. We'll start with ads, though. We'll start at the top of the funnel, because that's where the journey starts, and it's easier to talk about like from the beginning of the journey. So it's easier to dissect and analyze back to front, but then looking at it, I think you need to go front to back, because your ads really should be about repelling people and dissuading people from coming into your world, right? And I don't mean like outright controversial. If that's your thing, go for it. But I am a big proponent of speaking to the like top 20% intelligence of your audience, not the bottom, right? Because too often, especially like, and the caveat to this is, coaches doing like $1 million a year or less, right? If you're getting above that, that's a kind of a different thing. But under that, really you should be doing a lot, your best efforts to kind of keep your audience clean and engaged. This is not the time where you want to try to go viral and appeal to everybody, because it's really easy to get people curious about your thing. Because more than likely you're selling an opportunity for them to have like a better life, better situation, more money, things like that. And of course, like that's super compelling for a lot of people, but most people aren't going to take the action and do the thing to actually make it happen, right? So by optimizing for that person who is the broader audience, you're then repelling the kind of more intelligent, better client or student, whatever you sell there, because they're going to look at that and say, oh, that's for a super beginner. Like, that's not me. Like, I'm beyond that. Like, I see past that, right? So that's why I'm a big proponent of talking a little bit deeper, right? I think you should use jargon words and talk about things that only people like within your sphere know about. Once you get over that $1 million a year, then yeah, go ahead, branch out. Like, that's when you can, might want to go bigger. But like, here's the thing: you can have $1 million a year business with only 1,000 customers, right? And they only need to pay you $1,000 a year, not a month, just a year, right? So if you sell 1,000 people something for $1,000, you have $1 million a year business, 1.2 billion, right? So like, you don't need a lot of people to engage with the content, to, read your stuff, watch your videos, things like that. But you need those people to be very interested and very engaged. And I think the easiest way to do that is to put top of funnel content, cold audience content, stuff that, out to people who don't know you, that is a little bit higher level, but still easy, but still entertaining. And what you do is focused on a video view audience, whether you're on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, doesn't really matter. But this is just kind of like get views, get get that branding out there, and build up an audience of people who watch the videos, and then retarget people who watch the videos, right? And I'm not talking like more than 3 seconds or 15 seconds. Like, they should watch a good amount of the video here. And you want these videos to be longer, like over a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, because again, this is building up an audience of people who are potentially interested in what you have to do, what you sell, what you're coaching about, the problems you fix, right? So making content that focuses on major problems that your audience faces, and showing that you know the solution or have been there or have helped people there, different things like that, is a great way to start building up that audience. And then what you do is retarget the people who watch your videos with more content, right? And here you put a mix in of stuff that builds your authority, whether it's testimonials or demonstrating your product or whatever it might be, that works for your industry. Show that you are an authority figure and someone who's worth listening to, and then also start showing them different offers for the products that you have or the services you offer, the lead magnets or different things like that, right? And by kind of having that tiered system, it's really easy to, swap out new content in that top level with the brand building, because really all you're trying to do is hit certain KPIs for number of views, cost per views, things like that. And you can test new content really easily, because here's the thing, like, the main goal of that is just to build the audience, right? And then you let your offer ads that are down deeper in the funnel do the converting. And because they're only being shown to people that are interested in, who have seen your stuff, like, you don't really have to change those very often, right? You spend a little bit of time really dialing those in, and then they're pretty much set and forget. I have ran ads for clients that have lasted well over a year, and were successful and profitable, 14, 16 months after I created them. All right, the dog was barking at the mailman, so let me jump back a second here. I think I was done with the ads, so we'll just recap the ads quick. So when you use that tiered ad system where the purpose, you have a campaign for the sole purpose of getting video views and building an audience, it's really easy to test out new content quickly without having to go through like a long scripting process, right? You can just kind of get on the camera and talk like this, see what resonates and what hits, and then keep swapping it out, right? And it's a really easy way to like just beat the control. Look at your metrics, look at what the cost per views are, look at how many people are watching enough of the video, and whichever one is the lowest performing, you just swap out for the new video each week or a couple videos each week. And then because you're only showing your offers to people who you already know are interested and like you, you don't need to switch those out as often. And right, those are the ones that are like difficult that you really want to put the effort and time into and really plan out and things like that. So the next thing then is obviously like what are they offering, right? Does it make sense for the audience? Is it any good? So often people try to put together these really kind of like watered down lead magnets that don't really help, right? They don't actually like do the thing that they promise, which the main issue is like just fulfill on your promise, right? And if no one likes the promise that you're making, like make a better promise and then fulfill that. As a really quick aside, one of the fun parts about doing this content challenge is as I'm going through this, like I'm realizing like I don't really like how I'm explaining my audit process. And then a lot of that has to do with just being nervous on camera, right? And not being comfortable on camera and not developing that skill yet. So rather than getting like frustrated and like just trying to start over, I'm just choosing to like keep working my way through it, knowing that I'll get a few good clips here and there for the social media, and remembering that I can always do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, because like even, if some people see this video today and they're like, oh my God, there's going to be a new set of people tomorrow. And I think that's something really important to remember really quick for online coaches is you are never fishing in the same river with like ads and audiences and the algorithms, stuff like that. So that's why it's so important to put out a lot of content, and just authentic content, stuff that comes from the heart, that comes from your experiences, that come from your interests and the things that you love to do, because you never really know what's going to hit and what's going to pull people in and what people are going to like and not like and stuff like that. So the more content that you can put out and just kind of test that out and see, the easier, better, and faster you will create the business that you want, right? So that would be kind of the next thing that I look at for coaches to see like what kind of content they put out and how much. And this is coming from someone who spent most of the last decade, all up until about the last 2 years, being a direct response copywriter guy, that I thought creating organic social media content was the dumbest thing ever. I just pay for attention and there we go. And, I've really flipped on that. I've seen way too many people that have started at the same time I have that have really blown up. And a lot of it has to do with documenting their journey and talking about what they're doing and putting content out all the time, because it became this kind of self-fulfilling cycle where the more they did stuff and the more they talked about it, the more people wanted to pay them to do stuff. So they kept getting to do more stuff and bigger stuff. And, that trajectory took off. So if you're just starting out, I highly, highly recommend starting to create content now and do more than you think you should, because in the beginning it doesn't really matter. It's more about learning the skill of creating content, talking on video or writing, things like that. A lot of people aren't going to see most of your content, I don't know when you're watching this, but the content I'm making right now is only getting a couple of views, a couple hundred views every time I post, and that's okay, because it's probably not really worth listening to at the moment, but that's beside the point. The point is that you're doing it and showing up. I can't tell you how many creators that I enjoy and recommend people to just because they show up all the time creating content. I only maybe listen to 10% of it. A lot of these people have gotten to a point where it's like, oh, I know the same kind of 5 things that they say, but I appreciate the heck that they're, still showing up and saying it. And I know that if I ever have this problem, I'm going to go to them, right? So don't discount the fact that it's more about showing up, especially with building that trust in your audience, right? And you'll get better over time. That's why you have to do it. It's just the thing that kind of sucks about creating content, especially video content, is that you have to put it out in the world and you have to, suck in public essentially to get better, right? Because no one's recording content for months or years, getting better, and then just keeping it all on their phone or their hard drive. No one's I've never heard of anybody doing that. So I don't believe it. I believe that, from my experience, you have to put it out there and you have to just endure that pain period of kind of sucking. And that's okay. Much better with a content buddy, though. So if you want to hop on a call and chat with someone else about what you do, your industry, why you're cool, why you're awesome, why people should give you money, wherever you're seeing this, there should be a link to book a call or learn more about the Content Buddy system and network. Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled programming. So after, checking out the ads and looking at what they're doing there, I'm looking at their content, seeing how much they're posting, what they're talking about, the stuff that's gaining engagement. More often than not, I work with clients who don't put out a lot of content. So, then it becomes figuring out different easy ways to help them create more content, whether it's repurposing their coaching calls or doing content calls, where we hop on a 45-minute call every other week, talk about different things. Next thing that we're looking at is, like I said, their offers, lead magnets, free gifts, that kind of stuff, and making sure it makes sense with the buyer's journey. Does it solve an immediate problem that they're having? And also, is it a problem that is in line with their core offer, the core way that they make money? For example, if you are a personal trainer, it would not make sense to offer a free lead magnet of the 10 best home training gyms that people can get, right? Because you want them to come to your gym and train with you, not buy a home gym. So that kind of thing. What else? I guess so. again, looking at the customer journey aspect, then you have to go through what the next step is. Are they booking a call? If so, like, what's the reason? What's the purpose, right? I've seen clients try to put a book a call offer at the end of, like an ebook where it would take them like a few days to solve the problem or something like that. Or, just, again, have to make sure it makes sense. I'm going to start that one over. So, really, then I'm diving into either like the thank you page, excuse me, not the thank you page, the email series coming after it, or if they have like a book call, like what the book call process is and why they're getting on the call and like what the offer is there. Or if it's emails, like how are they presenting the emails? Are they real stories? Are they, what are they doing there? What are the open rates? What's working? Where can we improve there? And oftentimes, what I've seen again with clients is they kind of Frankenstein their email follow-up because some guru said, hey, just, send out emails and then whatever your best performing emails are, just like stack those on as your follow-up. And it's like, okay, and then be like everybody else. And that's why your email open rates are, 15% or 20% or whatever. I like doing a true soap opera sequence where it's not just telling a story in each email that ends in buy my stuff. This is about telling a story, taking your customers on a journey from, one situation to another, just like watching their favorite TV series, right? And that for me has, meant that I get 60+% open rates throughout an email series, 5-10% click-through rates consistently throughout email series. And then these people go on to have, I had a client that had a 63% average open rate on their newsletter, right? So these people are engaging and staying engaged and buying, at the end of it. So I think it's really important to look at your email series as it fits into the greater system, moving them from, that initial problem to then what your course offers and how those kind of intertwine. I think you'll see a lot more success. I think that's the main reason why most online coaches that I've worked with don't really put much into their email, is because it requires a different marketing skill set and way to think about marketing with that story component, that long form story component. That's just not really taught in marketing that much. There's a few people, but it's harder, so people don't want to do it. And this is really, really, really kind of going off some side tangents from like my audit process. So like one of my original ideas for this piece of content today was, like using as like an ad for like, hey, like here are the things to look for to audit your business. But I'm kind of enjoying the side tangents because, I like these as content bits more. So what I think this will just turn into is, a lot more short clips, 30-second to 1-minute clips for my social media, and I'll leave it at that. And then the cool thing is I get to record more content tomorrow, so I can work on a more concise, audit video that stays kind of on track that it can use for an ad or for anything like that. So that's totally fine. And, again, that's really kind of the fun part of this 100-day challenge, and proving my point with A, just need to hit record, and then B, like having a content buddy, right? This would be a lot easier with a content buddy because you can either A, like run through your process with them, they can ask you questions to keep you on track, things like that. Or, when it's appropriate, like let you go on some tangents, right? If that's just kind of what the day is, that's cool too. So it just helps to have that second person who doesn't have that kind of emotional attachment to creating the content, right? Like, I don't care. I don't care who you are. If you're new to recording video and putting it like on social media for the public to see, you're gonna have an emotional reaction attachment to it, right? Of some kind, form, or another, whether it's extreme anxiety or like this kind of overexcitement, bravado, like all kind of ranges exist. Um, and that causes us for whatever reason to like lose track, and it's just it's weird and awkward to talk into video just like this when we aren't like very experienced with it. Um, but it's a lot more natural to have a conversation with a buddy, a friend, someone on the other side of the screen. Like right now, instead of just looking at myself talking back, it's weird, it's awkward, like it doesn't feel right. We operate and have grown as a species based off of like reading that feedback. What do they say, like 80 or 90% of communication is nonverbal. Seeing someone's eyes like open wide, or if they kind of start to look around or lean back and kind of get bored, or lean in, like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? All those different things, that really helps us to tell a better narrative, tell a better story, and things like that. So I think, I don't know, one day the world will be going back and looking at this, be like, yeah, the dude really should have had someone else to talk to. He just kind of started to sound weird by like day 53. Anyways, but it's fun. It's fun to do this and just realize that it's a learning experience, and the main point of doing this is to do it and to build that skill set. And I think pushing myself to do 100 days, 45 minutes a day, like it just accelerates that learning process, right? Otherwise, if I did it once a week, it would take me 2 years to get this good. So I know it's a cool experiment. I'll see what happens by the end of it, and I don't know. Maybe I can turn this into a community thing with other people doing 100-day challenges too, with either creating content or what have you. So if this makes it into a clip and you are interested in that, please leave a comment and let me know. Well, I kind of lost the audit thing. So what if let's start over. Um, Maybe start the audit over again and see what happens if I can do it in like 5 minutes here. Um, in a little over 5 minutes, I'm going to walk you through my entire auditing process for online coaches that I use to find ways to increase their. Wow, that's not good. In just under or just over 5 minutes, I'm going to walk you through my entire online coaching audit process. And if you're wondering who I am, my name's Francis Waldecker. You absolutely should not listen to me. This is not advice. I take no responsibility and guarantee no results. This is just what I have done to generate around $30-ish million in revenue over the last decade for clients, 10 million of that being in the online coaching space specifically, written several million words of copy, and spent a few $1 million in ads. So I really consider myself a full stack marketer. So whenever I look at a business, I try to take a very holistic view of their entire marketing ecosystem from start to finish to see where we can a lot of times save money. That's one of the biggest things, is saving money, and then where we can reallocate those funds or those efforts into things that are more profitable. And I am a big media buyer. I grew up as a direct response copywriter, so that's where a lot of my influence and bias leans towards. But I have, in the last couple of years, really recently shifted my focus to branding and focusing on brand being the number one thing and using media buying to support and build a brand. I think that is a lot more profitable and a lot easier than to try to come up with very slick A-list copy, ads, landing pages, sales pages, emails, things like that. So really what I'm looking for in the beginning is the congruency of everything from start to finish in that buyer journey. Like, does it feel like it makes sense? Does each step make sense? Does it make sense that you're asking me for my email right now? Does it make sense that this ebook or this little video or mini training series or webinar is solving a problem that's important to me? Are you showing me throughout this journey that you are someone worth listening to, that you understand the problem that I'm facing, that you've helped other people solve that problem? So it's really like kind of just like a gut check, like, do my spider senses, do I get tingly feelings anywhere that I don't like? I just make notes of that. And once I'm done auditing the entire scope, I skim over like the entire website, check out the videos, all the emails, landing pages, stuff like that to get a feel for all that. And then the first place I dig in, numbers wise, are ads, looking for CPM, click-through rates, video watch time, different things like that to understand where people are falling off. For example, I like to look at overall click-through rate versus link click-through rate if we're talking about like Facebook, Instagram ads, because I want to know that little section, the 2 lines at the top, are they clicking see more, right? That's that CTR all. If that's a higher number, that means that's a good attention grabbing headline. And then if that link click-through rate, the closer that is, right? So if we have like an 8% CTR all and then a 1% link click-through rate, that's really far apart. And that means that we're being too curious and not actually fulfilling on what we promised in the beginning, because people aren't interested in clicking through. So I want to get that at least within half, right? So I want to see at least 4% or better click-through rates on the ads. Then you can kind of look, if you're running videos, you're looking for about 8%, 8 to 10% of people watching at least 3 seconds of it. And then you want to see an average watch time above 10 seconds. Anything above 10 seconds is really good. Anything above like 12 or 13 seconds is like absolutely incredible. Pump a lot of money in towards that. Those are the main things I'm looking for on the ads, right? And then the way I like to see an ad account structured is with a branding focus now, where we put a lot of the budget towards cold audience video view ads. Really, this is just trying to get the most people trying to watch those videos, and we build an audience based on watch times there, really trying to repel the people that we don't want, and only filtering out the people who are watching like later into the video, right? Talking like 25%, 50%, depending on how long that video is. And we do that because I want to keep our audience clean, right? I only want to be showing offers to people who are actually interested in the problems that we're solving. And that allows me to create ads that run for 6, 12, 18 months, a couple of them, without needing to be really touched at all. They were profitable because we put a good offer in front of people who are interested, and we just use those top-end videos to cycle through and build that audience. And then also, if they're creating enough content, we'll put some more videos into that middle of the funnel where we build some more authority and stuff like that, and kind of help help shorten that sales cycle, right? That's the main point of those. But when you do that way, you can save a ton of money because video views are a lot cheaper than trying to generate leads from a cold audience, right? So you just spend a couple dollars a day on those ads and you can really build a nice little audience. Well, that's 45 minutes here. I think what I'm going to do for the next one is bullet point out my audit process a little bit better, so I have a better idea of what I'm going through, so I can keep that more on track. So more to come on that.